Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I am going to be playing one of the newer decks to come out, and one of, I think, the strongest current metagame decks, which is the Pantheon Taric Faded deck. Now, if you guys haven't seen this, and I don't know how you wouldn't have if you're currently playing Legends of Runeterra, the entire point of this deck is to make full use of the Fated mechanic in order to constantly pump up your units to frankly unbelievable levels, keeping them alive long enough to the point that they just become overwhelming units that your opponent can't possibly deal with. This also means that they can be fairly cheap units that can really take a lot of investment and give you a return on it in a similar fashion to how the Dragons deck kind of works, where you can just kind of say, I'm just going to keep making my Dragons survive combat, and they're just going to get bigger and bigger as I do so. Fated is very similar and does in fact have a dragon, which is one of my least favorite cards in the game due to how good it is. But let's go ahead and hop into the card by card real quick. We are in Demacia with this deck, even though we're not playing any Demacian champions, because Demacia has a host of useful buff spells like Chain Vest. Chain Vest is 1 mana burst. It gives an ally tough, which can have some fringe benefits in keeping your units alive a little bit longer, or granting a Pantheon tough, for example, so he can't get that then as part of his flip effect. And it's 1 mana burst. You can play this as anytime you need a Faded proc, you can play this pretty much, and you're going to be able to get it, so I do think this is pretty decent. 2 copies of Gift Giver. She creates gems, which are like the most reliable way of proccing Faded in a turn due to the fact that they're 1 mana, they're focus speed, you can kind of play them whenever, you can play her early, sit on a gem, and then play it when you actually drop a Faded unit later, so I do feel like she's pretty good in that regard. 3 copies of Saga Seeker. He's the lowest mana Faded unit. He's the kind of guy that you don't necessarily want to play all of your Faded, or all of your targeted spells on in order to make him large, but if you don't see anything else in your opening hand, he's a perfectly serviceable unit for you to actually roid out if you need to. 3 copies of Brightsteel Protector. This procs Faded, gives an ally barrier for both offense and defense, and is generally a good unit for 2 mana. Mountain Goat is, of course, the GOAT in Targon because of how powerful this can be for the cost. Creates a gem in hand, which, again, as with the Gift Giver, gives you the ability of proccing Faded, and can potentially get multiple gems if you're able to keep it alive, which then synergizes with a lot of the other cards we're playing in the deck. So if you don't see a Faded unit early, you can kind of just protect the GOAT, and it's almost always going to replace the target spell that you played on it to keep it alive with a gem for your Faded units eventually. 3 copies of Pale Cascade. It's a target spell that procs Faded. It replaces itself if it's not the first spell you played in a round. Really solid card all around. 3 copies of Sharpsight. It's Sharpsight. Sharpsight is an incredible card. 2 mana +2/+2 is phenomenal. It gives you the ability to block elusive, which there's a lot of running around right now, which makes Sharpsight even more valuable. Definitely want to be seeing this in opening hands. 1 copy of Shield Vault. I know this is not exactly the quantity I should be playing this card at, but because it's slow speed, I really feel like there are some situations where your opponent can respond to it before your Faded proc goes off, and therefore kind of be able to counter it. So I don't want to be maxing on this, but the permanent +1/+1 and stunning an enemy can be all you need in order to help close out a game by pumping one of your units and stunning their only defender, potentially. 3 copies of Single Combat. Now, your unit does have to survive Single Combat long enough to actually get the Faded proc to go off, so you can't play this, get a Faded proc, and then kill something larger. But I do like it because we're running Dragons, and Dragons love any kind of strike spell. It does proc Faded, and it is a removal spell in these regions that lets us go after things that are sitting on the back line, not actually attacking, or elusive units if we don't have access to a Sharpsight. So I feel like it does enough for the deck. 2 copies of We Stand Together. This is a bit of a rogue option, but I quite like it because if you do have multiple Faded units out, you can proc both of them at the exact same time. The fact that it gives more health and power is also very relevant because Faded units just need to live, right? That's the only important thing, is that they survive damage or combat. So giving the extra health and then proccing Faded for a total of +3 health for a single card is pretty good overall. 3 copies of Wounded Whiteflame. This is, I think, a turbo broken card. I think Wounded Whiteflame is phenomenally strong, and that's because of the synergies between Fury and Faded. The fact that Fury already makes the unit synergize super well with cards like Single Combat or other cards that keep it alive through combat means that it ends up getting very large just by virtue of Fury, and ends up being very hard to remove because it keeps healing at least 1 as long as it survives a combat. And Faded means that anything you're playing to help it survive that combat gets even more value. This thing can get absolutely massive and then just keeps getting bigger by virtue of the fact that it has Fury. It is a phenomenal unit. For 3 mana and 4 health, it's really hard to remove. This thing is incredible, and I'm definitely going to be looking to get one of these in my opening hand. 3 copies of Zenith Blade. It gives something Overwhelm, which is important because this deck can get chumped out pretty easily, so Overwhelm is super useful. The fact that it also lets you draw into more Zenith Blades means that you can constantly keep spells to target your units and proc Fated in hand at all times, and it deck thins a little bit on its own, which is really nice. 3 copies of Golden Aegis. This is here specifically for the Taric combo, which I'll talk about when we get to Taric here in a second. 3 copies of Pantheon. He is the only Fated champion in the game right now, so of course we're going to be playing him. I'm not as big a fan of Pantheon as I am of Wounded Whiteflame, hilariously, because I feel like by the time Pantheon comes down, you've already started investing in another unit, and therefore you're not going to invest in Pantheon. If you just play him, even if he's already flipped, he gets a bunch of keywords, sure, but he's also only a 4/2, which makes him a little less relevant in my eyes. But, like, if you can properly support a Pantheon with a bunch of your target spells and really make him into a large unit, he comes with Overwhelm by default, which makes him really powerful. He just ends up becoming the kind of unit that can end a game on his own, especially if he flips and gets something like Scout or Lifesteal. Then it's just sort of GG for your opponent at that point. And finally, 3 copies of Taric. Now, Taric is really good because he lets you double up on your spell casts, which then allows you to target Taric, and then Taric casts it on a Fated unit to then give them the benefit and proc their Fated at the same time because it counts as a spell cast. And this is where the combo with Golden Aegis comes in. If you haven't seen this, you can play Golden Aegis on Taric in order to give him barrier and rally yourself. Then when Taric goes to combat supporting an ally, he casts Golden Aegis again on that ally, which rallies you a second time and lets you go back to combat. This means you can attack up to 3 times on your turn or 2 times on your opponent's turn, which is like an absolutely back-breaking swing of momentum that can end games outright on its own. I think I literally have been killed by this on like round 4 or round 5 or something. Like just Taric and a Wounded Whiteflame using the Golden Aegis combo. It's really, really silly, but we're going to be trying to use it to end games here. So that's the deck, guys. It's pretty simple. I know there isn't really anything in here that's particularly noteworthy given how the deck normally plays, but I'm excited to try and bring it out today, and we'll see how it goes. And here we go for game 1 against Arcalon, playing the Draven Rumble Sion deck. Now, this is a very discard-oriented deck. It's actually pretty strong, I think. I think Rumble's a really good champion right now. Not sure how Sion is following his small nerfs, but I definitely think it's still a solid deck, and one I do want to play eventually. I'm going to mulligan these 2 away and try to go for some of my support cards. I do have the Gift Giver for at least a gem, opening with a Pantheon. Don't know if I like that, but I don't necessarily hate it. So we're going to play the Gift Giver here. Oh, he actually has no turn 1 play. Cool, we're in for some damage. I'll take it. Didn't expect that to happen. Now, I'm hoping to not have to play anything on turn 2. I just want to sit on my spell mana, so when I do drop the Wounded Whiteflame, I can start procking Fury right off the bat. He's going to come down with a Squeaker, letting him get a random Mecha Yordle in hand. I should be able to chump this if he wants to go to combat. It's got Augment, though, so I doubt he wants to. Also of note, he is sitting on the Risen Rider in hand, and here comes the boy. And we are just going to be off to the races with this guy, honestly. I am a little bit worried about playing the gem immediately just to proc Fated. I feel like, honestly, I kind of want to sit on this and wait for the Pale Cascade on the off chance that my opponent does have a combat trick. We'll just go to combat here. He bothered to come down with the Draven. Okay, so he didn't do anything, and he's actually played out. So we will play the gem here just to make sure I get my Fated proc for the turn. And you can already kind of see how this is pretty good. I have a 4/5 on turn 3 for 3 mana. That's pretty decent. And now I'm sitting on even more mana, which is going to make this really silly. Tempted to play the Pantheon, but I think running him out might be too early. It probably makes more sense to just kind of hold my mana. I do have 5 mana here as well, so I'm going to go for the Zenith Blade. It's the first spell, so I'll draw into my final Zenith Blade to really get the deck thinned out. It's proccing my Fated for the turn, and it also means that I have Pale Cascade's Nightfall trigger as well. And Draven can't attack here. He just dies. Yeah, he's just giving up because he does not have a way of dealing with a unit that large on turn 4. Really kind of silly. I feel like there was more game to be played there, but I'll take the W and we'll move on to game 2. Once again, we are back for game 2 with XXXJPXXX, who is also playing the Pantheon deck, not running Taric though, so interesting to see that. This hand is not good, so I will try to get some of my early game stuff. There's the GOAT, there's the Saga Seeker, we're good to go here. Interesting that he's not playing the Taric. I do feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity. He's going to come down to the Saga Seeker though, and so will I. And I feel like this shouldn't be an attack. There's no reason for him to do this, but that, okay, sure. I don't see any reason for you to do that, but fine. Okay, so on one hand, I kind of want to just play the goat and go to combat. On the other hand, I think I will Gift Giver for a gem, because I can proc Fated, I can heal my Saga Seeker, and then we're kind of good to go against this guy. Depending on what he comes down with, if he's got a goat, like, there's not much I can do because my Saga Seeker dies. Okay, Brightsteel Protector. He is kind of wasting that defensively, but that's totally fine, I guess. We are going to get my proc here, so I have a 3-3 compared to his 2-2. I still can't really go to combat because of that barrier. He's got a free block, and he can kill my guy with his Brightsteel, but it does mean that I'm ahead of the board because he used this sort of inefficiently, and he only gave this guy +1/+1. Okay, going for the Zenith Blade. I can't stop this, so he's going to get another Fated proc here, replace the card, up to a 4-5. If I play this, I get a 4-4 that at least does survive. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to see if I can bait him. I'll bank all this spell mana anyways if he does pass. So here's the fun part. So we Chain Vest, we proc Fated, we give him tough, and then we also play the Pale Cascade, which replaces itself, so I don't really care. I'm not 2-for-1ing myself. We kill his guy. My guy stays alive. We proc Fated yet again. And one of the things about Fated as well is the more you tend to invest a lot of cards in one unit, but doing so does mean that you, if that unit dies, you get blown out a little bit. So we'll play out the goat, because this is going to give me technically a constant string of gems in order to continuously proc Fated, as long as my goat can survive combat, unless he wants to, like, block out or whatever. So we'll go in here, and we'll see what he wants to do. I do have the Pale Cascade to keep my Saga Seeker alive if he does choose to block it. He's going to Pale Cascade here, which will give him the replacement card. But it's also not going to be enough because of the fact that my unit's got tough. Because he's going to get +2/+2 from this card overall. So again, we're still proccing Fated, we're removing his guy, and my goat survived combat. That means I'm getting 2 gems off this goat in order to keep healing my Saga Seeker and proccing his own Fated, which is really good for me. These other Saga Seekers I'm not going to bother playing unless I have like a We Stand Together in hand, because otherwise I can't really roy them both out at the same time. I think at this point, I'm going to try to blow him out here with a single combat. He might have something, at which point I'm getting kind of dumpstered. Okay, yeah, he's got the Sharpsight here. So that's not great for me, because my goat is just going to die. At least I do still get the gem off of the back of it. I don't really think there's much I can do to keep my guy alive if he goes... Okay, so we will actually do this, because that gives me a free block. He now basically can't go to combat, so he's going to end up wasting that round. We'll bank the 1 spell mana here, looking for a champion, and right on time, as if I planned it, Taric comes out. So the combo is online. I do have Golden Aegis, but I can't do it this turn because I don't have the mana. He has the Wounded Whiteflame, which is kind of scary for me. What I'm going to do here, we're going to get the Fated proc. We'll go to combat with the Taric. We'll play out another gem here as well, because that way Taric will copy it yet again and make my my guy pretty big. Obviously, the tough is a little wasted, but also he's large enough to the point that my opponent's going to have a pretty tough time actually killing him, especially given that it's got tough. Okay, he's going to go for single combat, which will proc his Fated. It will let him also get a Fury proc. It may make him actually large enough. Not quite! So he's just going to go down. I'm really feeling that lack of overwhelm. I haven't seen a single Zenith Blade yet so far. So on his turn now, I can go for the Golden Aegis combo, which is hilarious. Not with a Wounded Whiteflame, which is the sad part, but I'm not all that torn up about it. I do have the single combat as well. Taric is pretty close. Okay, he's just going to go for the Zenith Blade. I feel like there's no reason to do this unless you really don't have much else in hand to do anything with. Because I think that might be his last one. I'd have to scroll back quite a ways to see it. Yeah, we're just going to go for the combo here. So see, if he's got a removal spell, he's going to try to use the single combat immediately. I think I'm just going to try and stop it myself with my single combat. See if he has anything else he wants to commit. He does. He has a 3rd single combat. Okay, this is actually going to blow me out pretty decently, because now all of the single combats resolve and basically everybody dies. I do still get the rally at least. That is how that works. I can come down with another Saga Seeker, so at least I'm not too far out of the way. And he's got nothing. I'm just going to run out a 3rd Saga Seeker. Whatever. Combat. Get in for 3. Let's go. 1-2s for the win. He's got to be sitting on like nothing but combat tricks at this point, which is one of the disadvantages of the deck, is you really do need units. Oh, and it's my turn again. Proc to Faded. Get in for 4 this time. He can't have anything. He didn't play anything last time. Okay, so he's hitting all his combat tricks. If I get a Golden Aegis here... Okay, Shield Vault doesn't do anything. That's fine. I need any combat trick, does it? No combat tricks! Oh, I can't actually kill him. That's tragic. Down to 2. Oh, we're so close. We're so close, but I haven't been able to get anything else. Okay, Brightsteel. That's another unit, but he's dead on board. He has to play something here. He has nothing. Okay, this is game then. It should be, at least. Jeez, what a game, and it's going to go out with a whimper like this. He really doesn't have... Oh, Guiding Touch! That doesn't keep him alive unless he's got a second Guiding Touch. Okay, he has a Hush. There's nothing I can do about that. He doesn't have a unit. He's staying alive at 1 health! Wow, incredible. Okay, he's going to come down to the goat, finally. We'll play the Wounded Whiteflame out. See what he wants to do. I'm not sure. Okay, he's just going to try and dig through his deck for more answers. He has to find another unit here is the biggest thing. The problem is now I can't single combat. I was thinking about single combating the goat just to kill it and proc my Faded on the Wounded Whiteflame, but I guess I could if I play Brightsteel, give it barrier, and then let it remove it for free. Cataclysm. That is an interesting main deck choice here. I guess your goat gets to strike for free and you remove one of my guys. Interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That does seem like a decent mainboard option in the deck. Okay, so he's going to play out the gem. I've already procced my Faded this turn, but I'll go for the single combat on the off chance that he doesn't have anything else. Oh, he's got no mana, yeah. So this guy just dies. And in case he comes down to something silly like the Pantheon, I have Shield Vault to keep it, to keep the Pantheon from going to combat, potentially killing him on my turn again. Okay, into another Taric. There's the Pantheon. So he's going to flip here. Kind of disappointing flip animation, honestly. I really feel like they could have played this up more. But definitely, he's coming down pretty late. But he does have a Hand of Gas in order to make him work. So we'll say +1/+1, stun an enemy. I think the stun still resolves even if my unit dies. And Pantheon doesn't have lifesteal, extremely important. Ooh, Spell Shield. Okay. That's pretty unfortunate for me. Because that does mean that his Pantheon can scout in and basically kill whatever he wants. He's also got Fury. Oh, that's terrifying. So I actually got to hold on to this Taric in hand until after the attacks are done, because otherwise the Taric is just going to get challenged and killed. Brightsteel for another barrier. Oh, that's exceedingly unfortunate. Yeah, because that means my Wounded Whiteflame just dies for free. Okay, here's the thought process. Here's the thought process. Assuming he doesn't have anything at instant speed that kills a unit, I still have enough. It doesn't matter if he blocks the Taric, because I only have to get in for 1 damage. So we'll see if this works. Okay, we've got it. He doesn't have enough blocks. Nope, does he? Sunblessed Vigor. I'm not sure how I feel about that card in the deck either. Oh, he's just going to play out all his procs here because he's got nothing else. Wow, what a game, but we finally did it. I do like, you know, as much as I hate playing against this deck, because they basically play Wounded Whiteflame and say, can you out it? And if you don't have Vengeance, you just kind of lose to it. But, like, I love the mirror for that reason. There's so much, like, hand reads and counting your opponent's resources and just trying to keep one guy alive. Super, super fun mirror matchup. So, great game 2. Let's go ahead and hop into a game 3 here. Back for game 3 against Fluffster, rocking that Poro Pride icon, playing a Shyvana Kindred deck. This seems like a rogue deck list if I've ever seen one. Not saying it's bad, but definitely not something I've seen before. Ooh, opening hand with no faded units in it at all. Hate to see it happen. At least, oh, okay, there we go. Top decked into the Wounded Whiteflame. We'll be able to bank 2 spell mana on the next turn. Dragon Chow coming out. There it is. One of the things I like doing with this card is playing it turn 1, and if my opponent doesn't have a turn 1 play, swinging with it. It does no damage, of course, right? But that's, like, not the point. Can I get in for 1? I can't. I actually can. That's funny. He was, like, scared of, like, a combat trick actually killing his guy before he got to play a dragon. That's really funny. But we've got the Wounded Whiteflame now, which is great. He's going to come down with Undying. But I have kind of Undying's Nemesis here. I guess it depends on what he's got in hand. If he's playing something... single combat doesn't do it, but a Sharpsight would. I feel like the answer, because Undying can't block, is like always just let Undying hit you. It doesn't really matter. Unless they've got something to actually kill the Undying with, you sort of don't care. Which I'm assuming then he's got a Glimpse Beyond in hand to remove it himself if he wants. Or some other card that says kill a unit, right? So he could be main decking the Butcher. But he's not going to do anything there. Now, I could play Pantheon, or Taric, but I don't have anything to actually proc Taric with. So I think the best choice is actually going to be Brightsteel with a barrier on Wounded Whiteflame. We proc Faded, and then we also save mana for single combat. So if I run into problems, or if Wounded Whiteflame swings, he doesn't block. Oh, Camivoran Dragon. That's right. Okay, you totally can do that. Oh, that is a very large boy. But we do get to go to combat for free here. And I think what I might... He's got 2 mana too. No, I do have to respect the 2 mana. Because this is Demacia. I'm playing it. We know what 2 mana can do. Okay, whatever he's got, it doesn't do what he wants it to do. Yeah. So now the funny part is, I can single combat him. And even if he's got like a single combat, it doesn't matter. If he doesn't have a single combat, but he's got like a Sharpsight, he keeps this guy alive. Oh, Vile Feast. Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. Pretty sad, because I'm losing my guy, but I do have this backup Wounded Whiteflame in hand, which is pretty nice. So what I might do this round is play out the Taric and just bank the rest of the spell mana in order to set up... Ooh. Kindred. Don't like that. But is there anything I can do about them? He's on 1 mana. Pantheon will not... Or Taric will not die. I don't know why I keep confusing those two. Taric will not die depending on what dies this round. If that's all he swings with, I'm okay. I bank the rest of the spell mana. We come down with Wounded Whiteflame next turn. And hopefully we can find a way to remove the Kindred. Pantheon! Tempting. Oh. Ooh, so tempting. Yeah, let's do it. The fun thing is he comes with Overwhelm by default, but I know my opponent's main decking Vile Feast, which is a little sad. Let's go for this. Because we can stun the Kindred, prevent them from blocking, and then give Pantheon a Faded proc. We also double up on Taric's flip condition, which Taric can, like, run away with the game too. But the thing about Taric is he needs something else to swing with. And if it's something small, it doesn't matter if they can't take damage or die. Like, they're not killing anything. Okay, he does have the Vengeance. That's okay. It does still stun. The problem is the Kindred will get a mark this round. We're also not proccing Faded, but we're going to get in for 4 at least, which I think is worth it. And it's only my Gift Giver that's dying. And I can't do anything about this. So, not great, but that's okay. Golden Aegis a turn after Taric dies. Absolute travesty. Okay, and I realistically can't block because if any of my guys die... It's really bad for me. Like make no mistake, that's really bad for me to take that much damage because now I'm in atrocity range, which we died to last time, so I'm keeping it in mind, but I don't think there's anything I can do about it. They do need either to play a bigger unit or to kill something with there's nothing I can do about that. Kindred are flipping on this turn. Wounded Whiteflame's the weakest unit. Ooh, that might be game. Because Kindred are gonna flip here. And then he only has to kill 1 more unit for Kindred to get +2/+0. Okay, just running out the Ruined Dragon Guard. Fine. Yeah. Down my champions, down hand advantage. I'm not sure there's much I can do other than like a top deck Pantheon, which of course I'm not going to get. That would have been really fortunate. I have to run out the Brightsteel Protector, or I basically don't have enough blocks to stay alive in the next turn. But if he has any removal, I'm just kind of screwed. Because he'll double up on his removal. Screeching Dragon. Hate to see that. Get him! Go, Brightsteel Protector! It's got barrier. I wasn't going to do anything with the barrier. I just had to run out the other Brightsteel Protector to have 2 units. I think I'm still dead, though. Unless I top deck... I'm not even sure what I could top deck to save me at this point. I'm pretty sure I'm just dead. I could have played a Pale Cascade to go digging for answers. And I would have drawn into a Sharpsight, which wasn't going to help me. I would have seen one more card. Maybe it's a unit. Maybe it would have helped me. That probably was the play in retrospect. Yeah, and he's got a Camivore and Dragon. So this is the game. There's nothing I can do to win. I'm dead on board. Man, tragic. He had all the answers whenever he needed them. That single combat to remove the Wounded Whiteflame. Well, and that's why I don't like single combat, honestly, as a card. Because if your opponent has like anything that you don't know about, your own card becomes removal for them. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong, it is good, but when it works. But if it doesn't, you just remove your own unit. So either way, disappointing. Let's go ahead and hop into a game 4, though. Here we go for game 4, last game of the day against Dogs, playing a Zed deck. My assumption is this is another variation on the, what is it, Iceborne Legacy, I think, where you give 1 unit and all copies of it +2/+2 permanently at burst speed for 2 mana. It's really silly, and I feel like this could be an attempt to make that kind of deck work. We have the turn 1 Saga Seeker, though, which I do like. There are some turn 1 options for this deck, though, so see if he wants to play any of them. Okay, it's the bird. So he's going to go ahead and get that. I'm just going to take this trade because I have access to gems. I can always heal, and he knows better than to even remotely try to block. There's no reason to do that, so... Okay, we do have mana for Sharpsight here as well, and Green Glade. Oh, we can blow him out. You fool. Don't you know I'm main decking Sharpsight, and now I get to block your guy. That's really bad for him. Oh, Green Glade's one of those units that can run away with a game if it's left unchecked, and he walked right into a Sharpsight. That's one of the reasons why that card is so good, by the way, because there's only one card that does it, and it's, like, absolutely absurd. Now... I guess we'll just go to combat here, get in for damage. I'm not that worried. We're sitting on the We Stand Together in case of any shenanigans, but like I realistically need to play another unit in order for that to be relevant. Okay, we'll just Wounded Whiteflame. I don't think there's any way he can actually kill my Saga Seeker, and now we have 2 for We Stand Together, so hey, more value. Because like I do want to write out the Wounded Whiteflame if I can. Ooh, and it came with a bird proc as well. That's gross. Can I top deck a Sharpsight, please? That'd be hilarious. No Sharpsight, sad. Okay, well, whatever. Into another one. This one without the proc, though. See if I can bait him. No, he's going to challenge me, and I don't actually have a way of dealing with that. That's fine. Okay, Taric, in you go. So we do have the combo online on the next turn, which is really funny. The problem is I can't play it and, like, We Stand Together first. Kind of sad. Okay, so Chain Vest. Okay, so here's my thought process. So we'll go in. Because remember, when I play this, I rally. And then I can get another rally by going back to combat as long as I play it on the Taric. This should be pretty safe. My units have got tough. Barring anything like crazy that it can whip out, I shouldn't have to worry about it. He does have a million cards in hand and a decent amount of mana, but I think he's just going to try and block out. He's anticipating something as well here, so he's just going to take the damage. He is an Ionia. I should keep that in mind. I do have 2 Golden Aegises. Okay. He's going to come out with a Zed. He doesn't have enough mana now to stop this if he is main decking Deny. He's got 3 mana. I'm curious as to what he's trying to do here. Either that or he's like trying to think what the rest of the play is going to look like. But realistically, from me, I'm just turning my units sideways. Okay, that resolves. We rally, so I get another attack. Go to combat. Taric doubles up on the Golden Aegis. I rally again. I proc Faded. I think this... Does this flip my Taric? The sad thing is Taric can only do this once. I don't get to go to combat infinitely, which would have been really silly if I could. Okay, and now we swing because I'm at 1 mana and I can bait him with Chain Vest. Oh, if I'd have just played it, he would have died. No, that's kind of tragic for me, actually. But I have this second Golden Aegis, too, so I'm not altogether that disgruntled. Kinku Wayfinder for more guys. This keeps me with enough mana for a Golden Aegis or for both of my combat tricks if absolutely necessary. So if he does want to deny this, then I can go for the Golden Aegis on the backswing and do the same thing and get another 2 attacks in. And like he at this point he has to lose units. Alternatively, if this resolves, I still have the mana for the Golden Aegis on the backswing as well, and then I'm giving like a bunch of things overwhelm, and he's just kind of gonna die from there. Taric's actually almost flipped. I could do it. Okay, in with all of the elusives, which I can't stop. We're taking 7 down to 8. Fine. Play a 2-mana spell for me, please. I would love to see you play a 2-mana spell. Okay, this kills his Zed. He's got to know that. Because I have big enough units that I can block the Zed and not die. So I'm not sure. Is he main decking Frostbites? And that's his thought process? Like, you have to. Why would you be in Freljord? The only Freljord card I've seen him play is Omenhawk. He's got to have something. I can't think he's just swinging because he's got nothing else to do. Okay. I think I will lose my Saga Seeker here. That's okay, though. I just want to mitigate the damage, because if he's got, like, anything, I might just die out of nowhere. Okay, Discipline of Force, so we're taking 11 now. A second Discipline of Force? That'd be really tragic if he had it. He'd be 1 off. And we can kill him on the backswing. Okay, a second Discipline of Force. That does make him big enough to kill the Pantheon, or the Taric, I should say. But I think we've got this on the backswing. So I will actually play this out because this flips Taric. And it also keeps him alive through the Zed attack. I've got Overwhelm available on Taric. This should be enough. We take 10. Go down to 5. Zed's dead, baby. And all of my board survives. Wounded Whiteflame gets even bigger. And I have Overwhelm, like, on deck. And I can always go for the combo as well in the next turn if I absolutely need it, if he has something really silly to stop my combo from going off. So, like, I'm fairly certain I can just swing. Second copy of Taric. This does give me a Blessing of Targon. Let's actually do it like so. Yeah, because I have no spells I can play, unless I wanted to play the Blessing, but I kind of want to save it on the off chance that he has some kind of combat trick. I have Overwhelm. And you have to know I have Overwhelm, because otherwise you're dead. I actually can't play these both in the same round, so if he's got multiple Frostbites, it might make more sense to Golden Aegis and just keep swinging with the rest of the party. Elixir, oh, okay, Elixir of Iron. Another Elixir of Iron. Okay, we'll go for it. We'll go for it because I do have the Golden Aegis on the backswing. Zen for 2. Do you have a third Elixir of Iron? He does not. We are in there for the end. I'm curious as to what his deck is doing. I'm assuming the point of it is like a Living Shadow, roid out Zed and make Living Shadows that are big, but I didn't see the connection with the Freljord there, unfortunately. So either way, that's 3 out of 4, not bad. I've had very little success with this deck during my testing period. I almost didn't play it this week. So I'm happy to see it worked out. I'm happy to see we were able to kind of show off this deck in the way it's supposed to work. You know, there's something to be said for playing meta as opposed to playing all the jank that I normally play. So either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I'm a bad person for playing the Faded deck, but let me know what you guys think I should be playing on the next episode if you want down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave it a like, and if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well, plus irregular Runeterra content. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later.